Ever heard of Achilles? Of course you have. The greatest warrior of the Trojan War, invincible, godlike, the star of Homer's Iliad. But what if I told you the story you think you know is just the beginning? We all know about his famous heel, the one weak spot that led to his downfall. But the real story of Achilles is so much more than just a weak ankle. It's a gripping tale of a man wrestling with his own destiny, a story of rage, love, and a choice that would echo through eternity. So, who was Achilles really? He wasn't just some muscle-bound hero. He was the son of Peleus, a mortal king, and Thetis, a sea goddess. This mixed heritage is key, placed him in a liminal space, caught between the world of gods and the world of men. He was stronger, faster, and more brilliant than any mortal, but he was still mortal, destined to die. His mother, Thetis, knew this, and it terrified her. She did everything in her power to cheat fate. The most famous story is how she dipped him in the river Styx, its magical waters granting him invulnerability. But in her haste, she held him by the heel, leaving that one small spot untouched by the protective current. A tiny oversight with massive consequences. Growing up, Achilles wasn't just trained for war. He was educated by the wise centaur Chiron, who taught him music, medicine, and philosophy alongside combat. This wasn't a mindless brute. This was a cultured prince, a man of immense talent and potential. But the shadow of prophecy loomed large. It was foretold that he would either live a long, peaceful, and utterly forgettable life, or he would die young and glorious at Troy, his name forever etched in history. For a man like Achilles, was there ever really a choice? The call to glory, the desire to be remembered, was too strong to ignore. When the call came to sail for Troy, Achilles answered. He didn't just join the Greek army, he became its centerpiece. His skill in battle was legendary. The Trojans trembled at the mere sight of his golden armor. His soldiers, the Myrmidons, were the most elite fighting force on the planet, moving as one with deadly precision. For 9 long years, the Greeks laid siege to Troy, and for 9 long years, Achilles was their undisputed champion. He was the tip of the spear, the force of nature that kept the Trojan army pinned behind their impenetrable walls. But even the greatest heroes have their breaking points. The real drama of the Iliad kicks off not with a great battle, but with a great argument. A feud between Achilles and the leader of the Greek forces, King Agamemnon. Agamemnon, arrogant and entitled, takes away Achilles' war prize, a captured woman named Briseis. Now, this isn't just about a stolen prize. For Achilles, it's a profound insult to his honor, his time. He, the greatest warrior, is being disrespected by a king he sees as inferior. This is where we see the famous wrath of Achilles. Enraged and feeling utterly betrayed, he does the unthinkable. He withdraws from the war, parks himself and his Myrmidons on the beach and refuses to fight. This decision is catastrophic for the Greeks. Without their champion, the tide of the war turns dramatically. The Trojans, led by their own great hero Hector, surge out from the city and begin to push the Greeks back to their ships. The battlefield becomes a slaughterhouse. Agamemnon realizes his mistake and sends emissaries Odysseus, Ajax, and Phoenix to beg Achilles to return. They offer him mountains of treasure, public apologies, the return of Briseis, everything he could possibly want. And in a stunning moment of defiance, Achilles says no. He's seen through the hollowness of the hero's code. What is glory worth if your honor can be trampled on so easily? He plans to sail for home, to choose that long, quiet life he had once scorned. This is the heart of his tragedy. Achilles is more than a warrior. He's a man grappling with existential questions. What is the meaning of a short, glorious life? What is honor? What is loyalty? His refusal to fight shows a depth of character far beyond a simple killing machine. But his inaction has devastating consequences. The situation becomes desperate. The Trojans are setting fire to the Greek ships. At this point, Patroclus, Achilles' closest and most beloved companion, can't stand to watch his friends die any longer. He goes to Achilles and begs for permission to wear his armor and lead the Myrmidons into battle. He thinks that the sight of Achilles' armor alone will be enough to scare the Trojans back. Achilles torn agrees, but with a strict warning. Push the Trojans away from the ships, but do not pursue them to the walls of Troy. Patroclus, wearing the legendary armor, is a whirlwind on the battlefield. The plan works. The Trojans panic, thinking Achilles has returned, and they retreat. But Patroclus, caught up in the thrill of victory, forgets Achilles' warning. He pursues the Trojans all the way to the city walls, and there his luck runs out. He is stunned by the god Apollo, wounded by a Trojan spear, and finally killed by the great Hector himself. When the news of Patroclus' death reaches Achilles, his world shatters. The rage he felt toward Agamemnon is nothing compared to the storm of grief and fury that now consumes him. His earlier debate about honor and glory vanishes. All that's left is a singular, burning need for revenge. He reconciles with Agamemnon not out of forgiveness, but because he needs to get back on the battlefield. His mother, Thetis, brings him a new set of divine armor forged by the god Hephaestus himself. And Achilles returns to the war, but he's a different man. He's no longer a hero fighting for glory. He's an instrument of death, a force of pure, terrifying vengeance. He tears through the Trojan ranks, his grief fueling a rampage that makes the gods themselves shudder. He is unstoppable. His one and only goal is Hector. He chases the Trojan prince around the walls of Troy 3 times before they finally face each other in a duel. It's the clash of titans, the 2 greatest warriors of their generation. But Hector, though brave, is no match for a grief-maddened, divinely armored Achilles. Achilles kills him. But his revenge doesn't end there. In a final, shocking act of desecration, he ties Hector's body to the back of his chariot and drags it around the city walls in full view of his grieving family. This is not the act of an honorable hero. This is the act of a man broken by loss, a man who has lost his own humanity in the process of avenging his friend. The Iliad famously ends not with the fall of Troy, but with a quiet, poignant moment. Priam, the elderly king of Troy and Hector's father, risks everything to sneak into the Greek camp at night. He comes to Achilles' tent, not as a king, but as a father, to beg for his son's body back. He kneels and kisses the hands of the man who killed his son. In that moment, Achilles sees not his enemy, but a grieving father, and he thinks of his own father, Peleus, who will soon be grieving for him. For the first time since Patroclus' death, his humanity returns. The 2 men, united in their shared experience of loss, weep together. Achilles agrees to return Hector's body. It's a moment of profound grace that redeems him from his brutal rampage. But Achilles' own fate was sealed. The prophecy had to be fulfilled. He chose glory, and with it, an early death. Soon after his duel with Hector, he was fighting near the Scion gate of Troy when Paris, the prince who started the war by abducting Helen, shot an arrow. Guided by the god Apollo, that arrow flew straight and true, striking Achilles in the one place he was vulnerable, his heel. The greatest warrior the world had ever known fell, not in a grand duel, but by a lucky shot from a lesser man. The story of Achilles is timeless because it's about so much more than war. It's about the struggle between our divine potential and our mortal flaws. It's a story about how love and friendship can drive us to greatness, and how grief and rage can push us to our very worst. He made his choice. A short, glorious life over a long, forgotten one. He became a legend, but the price was everything.
Nice.
His story reminds us that even the strongest among us have a weak spot, and that our greatest strengths are often intertwined with our greatest weaknesses. Thanks for watching.